I think we're gonna call it here for the Lies of P, because I mean, if I did do New Game Plus, it would just be something I would do on my own for the achievements, because most of the footage I would just have to cut down anyway, because I definitely wouldn't want to show me beating up the same enemies in the area, keeping track of my deaths, because that would be dumb for a New Game Plus. And all that would only be to get to the content of like different conversations, different records, and then fighting Geppetto's puppet at the end. I mean, I'm assuming that there was a boss fight. I mean, like from the looks of it, guys. I mean, come on, that was a boss arena. Let's be honest. But I guess the question would be, would a Spectre spawn be there if I like? Because let me say this. I feel like if I refuse to give him my heart, he would obviously turn evil, like I believe he already is. And what would happen would you would fight his boss, which I guess it would be a two-phase kind of thing, because that's how these bosses usually go. But the question would be, if there wasn't a Spectre spawner out there at the beginning, specifically because there was a choice of you not doing it, like a choice of you giving your heart so you wouldn't have to do that boss, so it would kind of be like a spoiler that there could be a boss and or is a boss. But then you also have to factor in that I really doubt that they would actually add a spawn after you died to the boss the first time, assuming that, you know, as most players do, they can't first time it. So yeah, I think we're gonna call it here for Lies of P. So, going over this game entirely in the 28 some hours that I have played, it's not a half bad game. Like I'm trying not to look back at it on malice, like with malice and just like hatred, because that would like cloud my judgment. But to be honest, it's not a half bad game, but it could be better. I'm not fully sure what I would do to make it better. I know that sounds really stupid of me to say. One thing I didn't like was how there were certain... I mean, like the only system that I know has souls like this, that you can trade them in for boss weapons and or other things. I'm pretty sure the only other type of things that would be in the Dark Souls series. But in Dark Souls, I believe they had stuff like this with certain boss souls that you can turn them in, I think. But the stipulation about that, assuming that I'm not just making this up in my head, for the Dark Souls, not Elden Ring, for Dark Souls, if you could turn in boss souls, you would not be able to duplicate it. That's understandable because they're older games. So, assuming that that is an actual thing you can do in Dark Souls, and I'm not making it up, I was going to say that Elden Ring is the only game that I know of that has a system like that, where you kill an enemy, you can take his soul for either money and or weapons or a spell or, you know, whatever. Or armor, I don't know. But in that game, they had a duplication system for it. So if you didn't like it and or wanted another set of it, I mean, there was dual wielding in that game, so that's understandable. But you can't get both, you know? So it's like certain things in that game, or sorry, in this game, like I'll blame this one on me. The Dancing One's amulet, I did not know it was gonna be like 20 fucking pounds. Wait, now that I think about it, why the hell is it 13 pounds? Did this game get an update? Wait, no, I'm not joking, guys. Did this game get an update? Because I could have swore that used to be like 19 some pounds. I swear to God. Enables, it had to have gotten an update. enables dodging even with low stamina. Like, the sword just didn't interest me because I was using my electrical weapon, which is what I did for all of this playthrough, I'm pretty sure, guys. I think the only boss fight or fight that I could remember doing that didn't have some sort of elemental type weapon to it was the Door Guardian. I'm pretty sure I beat him while using the katana. But yeah, for most of this playthrough, I was using electrical blitz for my weapons, whether that be the hammer that you get really early in the game, or this electrical circular saw that you can see behind this. I was using that for most of the game. I don't think there was much of any weapons, like boss weapons, that stood out to me besides the Puppet Ripper. The Puppet Ripper stood out to me like a sore thumb only because when you spawn in a Spectre, and I'm pretty sure I figured it out in that fight, when you spawn in a Spectre, it equips the weapon that the boss would give you, so you could see it in action. And I just saw, the extension cable coming out, getting them ranged attacks in and out, and then I saw the Fable Arts as well. Like, I saw them in action, I should say. But it's just really cool. And I really loved it. To be honest, I can't even remember what the other, what the amulet was for this choice. I can't even remember most of the amulets for these choices. Two Dragon Sword. The amulet must have been really crappy for me to get that. I mean, it is a katana, but that's not something that really, like, jumps out to me. And then this one was just pretty fun to use. And then Noblesse Oblige. I mean, increasing ergo acquisition rate is really nice. But, like, using that, like, accidentally pressing Y and spending a set amount of your ergo is kind of crazy. Because I had 42,000 and I spent 2,500. So I have no idea what percentage that would be. I think that's like 2.5 to 5%. So that might be one of the set amounts. It might be like a 3%, like some weird number like that it does for your ergo. What else? Yeah, the weapons in this game are really good, especially if you like changing up your builds and stuff. I just I can't say that I didn't like it, only because I was just really fixated on having an elemental damage. Because, not to mention me finding out about how electrical blitz, once they have it, you do more electrical blitz damage. And or, it could just be chopped up as you do more damage when you got the electrical blitz on them, whether or not your weapon is electrical blitz. I guess you could word it like that, because there are throwables for that. So overall, I mean, I didn't like how I had to level up. Whatchamacallit? Where are my stats? I didn't like how I had to level up capacity so much to actually be able to use most things in this game. I mean, yes, of course, I could have just leveled down my my equipment, my defensive equipment, and that would have lightened up my load a lot. But the game in and of itself is pretty hard without me not maxing out my damage reduction. So it just kind of became a necessity for that. So we finished this game level 86, and I had to put approximately, well, if I started out at level, or if I got to level 86 at the end, and obviously all my numbers didn't start out as 1, what level did I start out with? I think for the balance build, I started at something like 10. So let's say 75 for good measure, assuming that one of them was like a wonky number of like 11. So 75 some levels and I had to spend like 20, maybe 20, yeah, easily. I had to spend 20 plus, dare I say 25 of that 75 just for capacity. And with the stuff that I'm wearing now, I'm still halfway to making myself heavy. Like, I'm slightly heavy, you know? I mean, if I had sacrificed this for this, I wouldn't be, you know? But, you know, I haven't tested out which stamina recovery is technically better, so. And one thing that really makes me want to smash my desk was when I missed that phone call question, and I said bruise instead of ergo, and I was opening the secret doors and everything because I was getting all of them right. The one I missed out on gave me an outfit, but it more importantly gave me a +1 version of that. So let's see, so 170.3. So that just about gives me, is that 25? Is my mathing correctly? Yeah, it gives me 25 for just the base level amulet. Now imagine what the +1 would do. Probably not that much more. I would imagine 35 at the least. If it gave me 30, I would have just been like, alright, this game's dumb. But we'll never know, you know, because I didn't get it. So yeah, we're gonna wrap it up here. If I had to chalk this game up to a score out of 10, the first number that comes to mind is 7. That's just the first number that comes to mind, not chopping it up into decimals or anything, or, you know, thinking about everything accumulatively. That's just the first number that comes into my head is 7. Do I want to give this game a higher rating? Let's think. If we're not including decimals as of this very moment for this next rating, let's think. I like the parry system. I like the weapon break system, how if you break an enemy's weapons, they just do like half damage to you, which is really nice in certain boss fights. There are certain bosses that it seems like I could just parry, and it would just not break, which is kind of a downside to things. Having 3 different enemy types was kind of weird, but it was weird in the way, so the different enemy types were the carcass, mutants, the humans, which you rarely would go up against unless they're like a boss or something, and puppets. I think that's a weird way to split up enemy types, because another thing was you're not really getting any type of increased elemental damage if it's like one against the other. So like you could still set a puppet on fire. You could still electrify a mutant. Like there wasn't any notable like damage resistances to these type of enemies. Like were there certain enemies that it seems like I gotta hit them more to get my electrical blitz off? Of course. But, you know, that's just the way of the game, you know, some enemies have higher damage resistances to all things just as you progress through the game. I don't think any weapon type, being human, mutant, or puppet, technically had any variation on the damage reduction of the elementals, whether that be fire, acid, or electricity. Yeah, I just thought that was weird, having different enemy types, especially different badges for them. Story's not half bad. I mean, it's kind of weird how Geppetto, I like that last bit right there, like how it could have been a boss fight, but you got a different ending. I think there are 3 endings that they told me about in the trailer of this game. I'm not sure what the third one would be, because I assume, well, let me explain it like this. Here's how I think it would go. You beat Simon Manus, you go down, you hit the Stargazer. You go into the fight, you give him your heart, you die, you get my ending. The other way that I think it would go to get those two endings, one of them probably being secret and one of them being just, very formulaic of just beating him, would be if you did the boss fight that I'm assuming. If you refuse the heart, you'll get a boss fight of some sort, beat him, and then you'll probably have a choice to either, I don't know, maybe spare Geppetto or fucking kill him because he's your father and everything or something like that. Because if you kill him, because if I remember correctly, I believe one of the things Romeo said for the Grand Covenant, or the Grand Convection, whatever the hell it's called, like the rules, they're talking about puppets, where it's like, obey humans, help them, shit like that. They said that there was a rule that was like Rule 0, and it said like, obey the master, or something like that. And they found out that the master was like Geppetto, because he caused the outbreak. So maybe killing him would then break me out of this puppet cycle, and then I would be as real as a boy I can be. That might be a secret ending. Or I spare him, and imprison him, something like that. I don't know. But I feel like if there's three endings, two of them would have to come from me beating that boss. I just feel like that would be natural. Because then that would give the achievement hunters a challenge. It's like, oh, whether or not you do New Game Plus or a brand new playthrough, you're going to have to beat this final guy, this final puppet boss, assuming that it's a puppet because it's Geppetto, twice if you want all the endings. I think that's the way that they would kind of do it. And knowing that there's no Spectre spawn out front of it also discourages me, because looking back on it, it's like, yes, there were certain open world bosses that didn't have it because they were open world, but then you look back at all the bosses and it's just like, wait a minute, whenever a boss had a fog wall, I can't, like, I'm speaking from personal experience, I can't remember a time that there wasn't a spawner for the boss. I want to say that the second Parade Master fight didn't have one, only because it was Parade Master, so it didn't have one the first time, so it wouldn't have one the second time, something like that. I think that might have been the only exception in the game of not having a Spectre spawn in a closed-in room boss fight. I kind of find that a little weird. It's a little challenging, so. Yeah, so thinking about all that stuff with the weaponry, the story, the stats, some of the costumes even. A lot of the costumes were dog water compared to the one that I found, but that was only because I found this one in the when I answered the question correctly. So if I didn't answer the question correctly, I probably would have been like, that's not half bad. That one still would have been goofy as hell. Yeah, I think all the outfits would have been just absolute dog water. This one might have taken the cake if I didn't find any of the keys and or get the questions right. I would have just rocked something like that the entire game. And then when it came to this, that would have taken the cake, but I don't know, I probably would have wore like something like that or that for most of the game. Yeah, a lot of them are just really like lacklustering. They're just not good, in my opinion. So yeah, taking all that into account, I don't think I could give this game anything above an 8.5, but I'm not giving it an 8.5. I could give it an 8, but that sounds generous. I don't know. I mean, 7.5 seems like it's a pretty cool number, but I mean, there is some pretty good music in this game with the records and stuff. Complete. Oh, a wavelength decoder. Understand puppet messages. Oh, So does that mean that if I go into some of these boss fights, when all that text was all really crappy, that it's now going to give me a different message? Oh. I'm going to run to the Parade Master boss fight so I can confirm that. But I'm also going to talk about the final scoring of the game. So, yeah, it's a really cool game. I would definitely recommend y'all play it. The only thing that I find concerning about it is the single player factor. I mean, it's like the first Dark Souls game that's been released in a while that has actually not had a multiplayer factor. I'm trying to think of any other Souls-likes that has a multiplayer factor. I'm not sure. There is Lords of the Fallen coming out soon. So as I was saying, this is one of very few Souls-like games that they have out, and have released in a good long while, and it is single player. I mean, I guess the question now would be, if they did have a multiplayer factor, would you or would you not, whatchamacallit, would you or would you not, what am I trying to say? Make it open world multiplayer. So I mean, the game's open areas in and of itself. Oh, duh, wait a minute, I gotta use this. So before I continue in my explanation, because it'll be better if I say this first, let's go over how many deaths that I have, because I was going to tell you the percentage of deaths per boss versus, like, the ratio of boss deaths per open world deaths. So in the first session I got 4, or sorry, in the first session I got 6. Second session I got 7, so that is 13. Right. Yeah, 13, 6 and 7. And then I got 20 in the third session, which makes 13 and 20 make 33. And then just to skip ahead, in the sixth section I got 17, so 33 and 17, that make 50. And then in the fourth session I got 15 deaths, so 50 and 15 make 65. So 65, and then in this session, which is session number 7, I got 4 deaths, so 65 and 4 make 69. Nice. So 69 and 18, which was how many deaths I got in session number 5. So 69 and 18, give the 1 to 69 to make 70. So 70 and 17. So 87. Wow, that's actually really ironic, because I'm pretty sure... Yeah, I'm level 86. So I died 87 times, just about 1 death per level, considering I started at, level 10 or whatever, but we're not going to talk about that. So just about 1 death per level at 87 deaths in total. I want to say, with certainty, that the ratio... Well, let's give a percentage, because not all people understand ratios. I didn't understand ratios for a long time. But the percentage of deaths from bosses compared to open world deaths, because I only died in open world due to dumb shit, I would want to say that it was probably... I want to say a good 75... No, that's way too low. I'm going to say 85 to 90% of my deaths were from bosses. Yeah, that sounds good to me. 85 to 90% of deaths in this that I got in this game were from bosses. I mean, all in all, that's not really like half bad considering the fact of, you know, I didn't play this game for hours and hours and hours. I was just playing it straight through, and I want to say that the most amount of attempts it took me for a boss was I think I'm saying her, I'm probably gonna butcher her name. Laxius, I believe her name is.
So please, be careful.
I want to say that's her name. Laxius, or Laxia.
Hello there.
One
I didn't
lightning
think
check.
you out here alone.
Proposal. Oh, yeah, and there's my achievement. Normal weapon collector. Yup. Collect all normal weapons. I knew it. I knew these were the normal weapons. I forgot. I think I actually just bought a double puppet saber. So I'm pretty sure I have 2 of them now, but it's fine. Records playtime. A record that can be discovered in Krat. That's interesting. Why did it give me that now? Like, why didn't he have that one before? Is it because of it being a new game plus? Maybe since the record is gold, that kind of sort of indicates that it's a new game plus one. Because it said part 1, so maybe there's a part 2, 3, something like that. Finally, a guest is here. This kicks the party in gear, something like that. Oh, the king is celebrating. One thing that I would have really liked in this game is if, when I see those messages, bad children get the stick. One thing I would have really liked to see in this game is if the new messages that popped up would be like some kind of call for help. That's what Romeo was like, apparently Carlo's friend. So he would have like probably been like saying help. Discipline does the trick. Yeah, I would really like playing through this game again, just to see what kind of new stuff that they would offer. So, I mean, I guess I could rule this game as new playthrough worthy, or new game plus worthy. You could have given the king a real festival. I would probably have to go back and count it, but maybe there's a way that you can actually, or not a way, maybe one of the secret achievements is acquiring all the quartz. Like, you know what I mean? Like all the P-organ abilities, that's what it is.
Puppets like you. So you'll have to lie to get inside. You're a special puppet after all.
Welcome to the school party. Puppets are at the hotel for beds.
Wait, what? So it makes me pick the other.
Grand Covenants, welcome to home.
Oh, gotcha. Now I understand that door. It's letting me in because I said I'm a human. But it didn't call me out for being a puppet. It's simply stating that since I said I'm a human, he was just stating that one of the laws of puppets is they can't lie. So they just said welcome in because, you know, naturally they assumed I'm a human. Puppets can't lie, you know? Lies of P. She's been a fun game. Alright, since there's a lot of playthrough potential now that I'm discovering, especially because you got the decoder, so you can figure out what they're saying.
Look at Gemini. That's I'm no wait. Be careful.
Yeah, so since there's like different types of stuff that the bosses would say, I would have really appreciated if the bosses would have been like, "Save us, Carlo. You're our only hope," or some shit like that, you know. I would have thought that would have been really interesting. But this game's got playthrough potential, or new playthrough, new game plus potential. So I'll leave it at an 8 out of 10. That's not F. Yeah, I'm fine with that choice. All right. Wait, are we able to get one level up? Probably not, right? Oh no. No way! I'm gonna sell some shit. Hold up.
That hotel. Welcome.
Don't worry, you guys will see how I sign off. It's real funny. Wait.
Welcome.
I actually need like a lot more than that. That's... Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we sign off of Lies of P. As you can see at the top, we are level 87, and we actually occurred 87 deaths in this game, so it's perfectly uniform. 87 deaths with near 29 hours played. I would definitely say this game's got potential. I give it a solid 8 out of 10. I'm really looking forward to hearing if they do announce any DLC, because I mean, I can't see them. Wait, what the fuck? Oh, just the statue. I would really be interested to see if they do release DLC, because just from the numbers of the acts at the top, it gives it like potential to have it. But since it's a very linear type game, there is reason to doubt for it. Of course, an argument could be made that like one of the most linear games out there, kinda sorta, is Dark Souls. Because to do this, you need to beat this guy. But to beat this guy, you need to unlock this area. And to unlock this area, you need to get this key. And you only get this key after beating this guy. Something like that, you know? That, like, Dark Souls is a very linear type game. You know, Sekiro, in a way, is a linear type game. I would toss my hat in the ring and say Bloodborne's a very linear game, but I haven't played too much of Bloodborne. But I would like to say that in some way, shape, or form, it is also linear. But the thing about those games, not including Sekiro, is they have DLC. So I'm really looking forward to hearing more about this game through the pipeline to see if they do release any DLC. And if they do release any DLC, we're definitely going to be back in for that. And we are going to give our last sayings while we play Proposal Flower Wolf Part 1. It's been a fun ride. Maybe we should just walk around and say goodbye. I didn't mean for that to rhyme. I don't even do that anytime. Old lady, we gave you the cure, and you were very virtuous until the finish. I see no difference in you and the painting. Goodbye, Antonia. And you, robot, whose name is very similar to Vanini's robot. We had some laughs. You learned to love just like me. And I'm gonna miss you. It seems like only yesterday that Vanini had all his stuff worked out here. And his puppet as well. You helped me solve out the mysteries of this world. I won't forget you, Vanini. Child prodigy. And once again, I am sorry for the loss of your parents at the hands of the puppets. More specifically, the puppet that went deranged. Eugenie, you're probably my most favorite here, not including Sophia. Because you were the only one that helped me through my playthrough. You made sure that my weapons were all okay. And as for you, Mr. Kitty, well, you don't like me now, but I remember in a past life, I held you. I will never forget you, Mr. Whiskers. Geppetto, my father, I gave you my heart so that I could live again. Your son could live again. I only hope that you cherish the time that you had with him. Golden Tree guy, you were some sort of spy that stuttered, fake stuttered, so I'm not fully sure what to say that. And as for you, Sophia, I will never forget you. I love you for leveling me up. And that is where we're going to leave it off for Lies of P. One last statement that I'm going to repeat is I give this game an 8 out of 10. I can't wait to hear if they are going to release DLC. But that is where we're going to end it for the series of Lies of P. I'd like to thank you guys for being on this journey with me. If you were watching on Twitch, I know you've probably gotten some laughs of just me dying in real time, but if you're watching this on YouTube, I'd like to also thank you for watching this, and if you want to hit that subscribe button on my YouTube channel, Abiding Milk, and or hit a follow and subscribe button on Twitch, which is Abiding Milk YT for YouTube, I would very much appreciate it, and you would be a part of the Milkers, which is what I call my group of following. And that's where we're going to leave it for Lies of P. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, wait, what do I say at the end? Oh, this is kind of like ruining the end. I usually say I hope to see you in the next one. Peace. Yeah, I guess we'll just finish it up with that. So we're going to finish it off here for Lies of P. And as always, I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.